Yay, good morning, everybody.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. It's Friday.
Yeah, it sure is. You know, I have had my week all messed up. I thought it was Saturday on Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
And it happened so much. There was an event I had wanted to go to on Saturday, and I went to it on Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, we're not doing this today.
I like that part where you wake up in the morning and you're not quite sure what day it is. You're like, maybe it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, nah, it's Wednesday.
You ever wake up and you're not sure where you are?
Oh, yeah.
That one's weird.
Yeah, especially when I would travel all the time.
Yeah.
It's like a little game you play.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we are so happy to be here today on a Friday.
Yes.
Talking to you guys today about vaping, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I do. I like talking about that. Yeah. And it's so funny because you can't see all the myriad of drinks we have. Water, coffee, smoothie, water, something that's been there for a while. Well, you guys, my name is Ray Lozano.
And I am Brooke Romero, his daughter.
Yay! And we got to do a father-daughter drug information presentation, and I love that. And the people that we need to thank to be able to do this are the Elks.
Yeah.
Because the Elks are the ones that provide this opportunity for us to do that. They pay for it, and they're like, hey, we want kids to have good information, and we're willing to pay for it.
Oh, well, we want kids to have good information, and we're willing to speak about it.
Yeah. So it goes good. So they help put all this together. So thank you so much this morning, the Elks, and for all the kids that are like, I think my grandpa was an elk at one time, right? They do all kinds of stuff for the community. They help veterans, Boys and Girls Club, the Boy Scouts. They feed homeless. They do all kinds of stuff and have a hoop shoot. And for those of you that are going to graduate, scholarships.
Yeah, and the nice thing about the Elk scholarships is sometimes there are scholarships that don't even really get applied for.
Right.
So the scholarships are just basically sitting there waiting for somebody to come get them. And that somebody could be you. So, and so not only are the Elks the ones who are providing the funds for this presentation, but they're also providing the fun.
Hey, I see what you did there. That's pretty good.
For you guys. And one of the ways that they're doing that is through the ElksTeamzone.org. So if you're watching this on a monitor right now, there is an offer that will pop up for ElksTeamzone.org.
ElksTeamzone.org.
It's ElksTeamzone.org. And on that website, there's a bunch of great information, super easy to understand information, games, quizzes, and a lot of great resources for teachers.
Yeah, so when kids are done playing their video games, they can pop over to ElksTeamzone.org.
ElksTeamzone.org.
And get some good information on there. Yeah, go over there, man. They put a lot of good work into that website and stuff like that. And the website's real cutting edge, real latest information. And that's one of the things I appreciate about the Elks is that they're willing to do some great new stuff and not just like the old stuff that's always been done before. Because back in my day, man, drug and alcohol information, now when I look back, it was like really crazy. But you know how reality shows are real popular now? When we did drug and alcohol information when I was in high school, they brought us into the gym, the lights went out, we all screamed, then you hear rain, and then you hear rain hitting metal, and then the next thing you see are these lights flashing, and somebody walks up on a person laying on the ground bleeding, and he's like, and then the next scene, it's a kid in high school shutting his locker, back when they had lockers, right? And he looks in the camera and goes, maybe they shouldn't have been drinking and driving.
Wow.
Yeah, and you're like, And then the rest of the 45 minutes was all videos and stuff of car accidents, people getting killed. Yeah,
man. So it was like accidents that had happened, but then they had actors recreate them, or?
No, it was not. It was like reality stuff. I don't think they even had that then. It's like the chief of police did his thing, and then as the officers are walking out the door, he's like, hey, Mahoney, take this camera, videotape whatever you see out there.
Geez.
Are you sure, Chief? Yeah, Mahoney, do it.
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
Yeah, I really think
I don't even know how that could be legal.
I think we actually watched people dying.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, in my generation, the permission slip generation, we definitely did not see any of that kind of stuff. We definitely didn't see any videos or anything like that, but I know when we did drug information, it was more like sad. So it wasn't so scary, but it was like sad stuff. So they would bring us into a room, they would have like a couple of speakers, and they would tell us like these really sad stories of kids who had like gone to parties and drank too much and died and didn't make it home. Yikes. And then they would tell us, like, you know, the aftermath, like their family's missing them and their friends are missing them, you know. And then they would describe, like, their dogs sitting at home, like, not understanding why they're not coming back, you know, just, like, waiting for them.
Where's my walk?
Yeah.
What's wrong, Sniffles?
Is that the fish?
Yeah, they're talking to each other.
I like that.
Get Mahoney!
Get him on the case! And so, yeah, like, they would get everybody crying. Like, there was not a person at this school who was immune. You would see, like, you know, the head of the football team sitting there like, no one can explain it to the dog. He doesn't speak English, you know? Yeah.
Was it an actor dog?
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. I'm just kidding.
I don't know how they get dogs to look sad in, like, movies and stuff. You know? But, yeah, so they will get us all crying, and then they would be like, don't do drugs.
Yeah. And have a good day.
Yeah.
Well, the Elks said, we don't want to do that. We don't want to scare kids. We don't want to intimidate them. We don't want them to feel bad. But we want them to get the message that, you know, drugs and alcohol aren't good for you, or vaping or all that kind of stuff. So they said, what's the best way to do it? And we looked around and we came up with this great idea. Let's make it funny and interesting.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, drug and alcohol information is like, boring, you know, and I get it, man, because it can be. So we're going to totally not scare you or intimidate you. Hopefully you'll laugh and get some great information on this, right?
And I think the big thing, too, is just like, I think a lot of the times when people will be like, don't do drugs, they're bad, the main thing kids think is why.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we're here today to talk about, is like the why.
Right. Or the, if I just do it one time, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen?
Yeah, so we're talking about that.
If at any point you guys have questions, even if you're watching this later on as a replay, you can put those questions in the chat and they will come directly to us. If you're watching it as a replay, we won't be able to answer it live because that's not how time works.
Right.
But we will be able to email you an answer to those questions. So, yeah.
If you're on Facebook, we can't see it, but just put whatever you want on there and be sure to share this stuff. So, all right. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and they already got the answer. I'm going to ask you guys a question about vaping that we could not answer back in our day because we didn't have Ask Jeeves or AOL yet. And so we had to get
answers.
Yahoo Answers. Yeah, we had to get our information from friends, and so sometimes it wasn't quite accurate. But now, like I said, we couldn't answer this question, but you could. What is the main chemical they put inside e-cigarette, Juuls, and vapes?
They've all said it already.
Yeah, and it causes the addiction. Yay! And so the correct answer is nicotine. Now, back in our day, we didn't know that. And so we had no idea. It wasn't until like the mid-'90s when they sued the tobacco industry, and the tobacco industry finally said, you know what, we put nicotine inside there. So we had to get our information from our friends. And so, like, one of our friends would have a health class, and he'd come out like, hey, everybody, did you know they put cat pee inside cigarettes? And we'd all be like, whoa, not cat pee, right?
And then it would turn into like that weird game of telephone where you're all telling each other, and they're like, I heard they put hat cheese inside cigarettes.
Oh, that's gross. At least it's not cat pee, right? Yeah. And then you never think about it as a kid. Like, what do they have? Little cats walking around and pee into a cup?
Like, I don't know how they would collect that even.
Hey, Mittens, we have to make 2,000 cigarettes today. Get busy. Mahoney, get out of here. Anyway, that's going to be the thing for today.
And then, like, the thing I think is, number one, that sounds expensive.
Yeah.
Right? Number two, what would even be the benefit?
Yeah, I don't know. But we believed it as kids. And so nicotine was in there. So the tobacco company tried to hide it, but the Juul company said, hey, you know what? We don't want to get sued like the tobacco company. So we are going to tell everybody and tell everybody and tell everybody and tell everybody that there is nicotine inside cigarettes. So you've been to the gas station before, right?
I sure have.
You ever seen, I don't know why I said that. You ever seen the sign on the door? It says, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is a highly addictive chemical.
Yeah, and it's always like the white background with the black text.
Yeah. I mean, exactly, it stands out. Yeah, they don't try to hide it. And so they said, we're going to tell everybody. And so now everybody knows, but nobody even thinks about it, right?
Right.
So here's the next big question for you students and people on Facebook. Where else do you think you could find nicotine in your house? Now, it can be a cigarette, can be an e-cigarette, can be a Juul, can be a vape, can be nicotine patch, chewing tobacco. and can be your brother-in-law's back pocket. Okay, yeah. Where could you find it? So we always get crazy answers: chocolate, medicine, cleaning materials. And then one kid will look over at the teachers who are all lined up against the wall and go, coffee. And all the teachers are like, please, 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 please. And I'm like, no, not coffee. And they're like, shoo. Right?
Yeah, we go back to drinking there. I had a teacher drink 2 pots of coffee a day.
Really?
Yeah, she had her coffee pot in the room.
Oh, my gosh.
It was in elementary school, so I was in the class all day, and she'd drink 2 pots of coffee. And now as an adult, I'm like, I get it. But no, not coffee. Here's where you could find nicotine. You could find it inside. Dun, dun, dun,
bug spray. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Sorry.
So, yeah, if you've ever sprayed a bug or anything, that's what kills it. So, if you looked on the back of a can of Raid, you will find a product that begins with NIC or ends in TINE. Now, nicotine, Brooke, is one of the strongest poisons that a plant can produce. And so they found a way to kick it up. And so I drew my little bugs right there because I think everybody watching at one time or another sprayed a bug, right?
Yeah. I like that drawing. It's done really well, I think. I like the spider going to check and see if his friend's okay.
Yeah.
And that one down there looks like he's covered with beetle juice.
Ah, beetle juice. That's nice, yeah. What's wrong, Terry? I don't feel so good. It'll be okay, man.
I like those little stink lines coming off of him, too.
No, those are death lines.
Oh, is that like his soul?
Yeah, his soul's leaving him. Bugs do have souls. So I know on Facebook you can't see it, but yeah, we got a great drawing. Maybe I'll put it up later. But yeah, so if you ever sprayed a bug, now I'm sure everybody at one time or another has sprayed a bug with something different than bug spray, like Windex or Febreze or like some kind of bathroom cleaner or Axe body spray.
Yeah,
right?
I used hairspray once.
Did you?
Yeah.
And was the bug like, hey, thank you, baby?
Yeah.
I just turned into Elvis.
That's what hairspray will do to you.
Hey! And so, yeah. So when you spray a bug with nicotine or a form of nicotine, here's what happens. It lands on the little bug. Little bug, like, panics. That nicotine, like, it absorbs into the system super fast. It goes inside and it breaks all the signals inside. So, like, right now, I have all these signals that are going out through my brain. So my brain is telling my hands to do this really weird thing. It's telling my mouth to do this thing. It's telling my feet to move. It's telling my, back to, like, stretch out. If you ever sat in a chair really long and, like, you feel your, like, booty go numb, and you're like, oh, my gosh. And so that's your brain sending out a signal. And so right now my brain's sending out a signal to my heart because my heart's connected to my lungs are connected to my feet are connected to my hands. It all works together, okay? So what happens is if you took enough nicotine, like 1 pack of cigarettes, and you removed all of the nicotine out of it, you'd have a little over a drop. If you put that drop on my tongue or on my skin, that would be enough to kill me because it goes in and it breaks all those signals. Does that make sense? And so everything would shut down. So my heart wouldn't know what to do and my lungs wouldn't know what to do. And so, yeah, it all kind of collapses.
Oh, so they, like, can't communicate. It's like trying to do, like, a Zoom call, but you all have Sprint.
Yeah. So 2 things about nicotine, and please remember this, okay? Number 1, nicotine is a poison. And number 2, nicotine kills because it separates out body parts in bugs. Now, the question we always get immediately following this is, how does a poison cause the addiction? Right. And I say, great question.
That is a great question. Now, what happens is when you add too much nicotine to the system, it separates out all of those connections. But when you add just a tiny, tiny bit, like a 20th of a drop, what happens is instead of separating out all of those connections, it just separates out this one super important connection in your brain. Let me show you guys where that connection is. If you take your index finger and place it right in the center of your forehead, right there, if you went back and touched your brain, you would hit something we're going to call a go button. Then if you move it over to right above your left eye, you're going to hit a stop button. So go button, stop button. Go, stop, go, stop, go, stop. Go button, stop button. Now this go button, stop button is super important in your brain. It's responsible for a lot of your motivations and things that you like to do. But it's also kind of responsible for, like, your quick reactions to things. So, whoa, that was quick reacting.
Thanks.
So, Dad, have you ever been in this situation where you get, like, a really good jump scare? Oh, yeah. Like, somebody jumps out and really scares you good, or even, like, a jump scare in a movie?
Yeah, it just happened the other day at the grocery store.
Oh, really?
And you know how the aisles are kind of thin, and I came out kind of fast.
Yeah.
And right when I got out, this other lady was coming that way kind of fast, so she almost ran her cart into me, and I almost ran, and we both were like, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a moment of like, what are you doing?
Right. And so whenever you get scared like that, you have some kind of reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I scream when I get scared.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just jump. Some people might take off running.
Mm-hmm.
What's your reaction?
I get ready to punch.
Really?
Yeah, and so, that's never good in public.
Oh, jeez,
yeah.
And so, you have some kind of reaction. Now, I discovered a brand new reaction I had never seen before. Because a couple Halloweens ago, we went to Universal Studios Halloween night.
Mistake number 1.
Yep. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Universal Studios. Usually, it's really awesome, but during Halloween, man, it is unbelievably scary.
Yeah.
Because it's where they make all the movies and stuff.
Yeah, they filmed Austin Powers there, the Three Amigos.
Yeah. They have a whole Harry Potter world.
Yeah, I'm trying to pick old movies. Yeah. What was that movie with Tom Cruise where the plane crashes? Never mind, sorry. Boy, that really sucked all the air out of the room.
A lot of these jokes are improvised.
Yeah.
So,
War of the World. War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
World. Yeah. Dang, forget it.
I can't say that one. Anyway, so during Halloween, unbelievably scary. Because not only do they make all of those amazing movies my dad just listed out, they also make all the scary movies, right? They make like Psycho.
Oh, yeah.
We need to get some updated references.
What's that? Walking Dead. There we go.
Dead.
Nice.
Even that's kind of an older reference. Anyway, moving on. Scary. So we go with my niece, and my niece at the time was really little. She was like, I think like 11 or 12. So I told her, I was like, okay, this is going to be really scary. I'm not sure if you're ready for it. I'm going to let you decide where we go first, just because I want you to gauge like how ready you are, Sure. And so she's like, okay. She's so excited. She decides she wants to go to the Killer Clowns from Outer Space section.
No, gracias.
Yeah, mistake number 2. So I tell her, I'm like, there is no way I am going to the Killer Clowns from Outer Space maze, right? Because think about that. Like, every word in that is scary. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Killer, scary. Clowns, scary. From, could be scary.
Yes.
Has the potential, right? And the potential is there. Outer Space, terrifying. Because they play it by a whole different set of rules.
A whole different set of rules. Yeah, here it is right here.
Yep, there it is. Oh, where'd it go?
I don't know. I'll find it. Yeah, it's coming right back. Yeah.
Yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I feel like that was kind of like witchy.
That
was like Wolfman.
I got it.
That was it. That was the laugh. And so, we're going through this maze, and it is so unbelievably scary. And there's, like, clowns with messed up faces. There's clowns with fangs. There's clowns covered with blood, There's clowns popping out at us, clowns chasing us. The air is just heavy with the scent of cotton candy and fear. And so it is so scary. So my little niece is going through, like, all the stages of getting scared,
Right.
So first she's kind of, like, jumping. Then she's screaming. At one point she takes off running. At one point she's even trying to punch at the clowns, and I'm having to hold your little arms down, like, no, we're gonna get in trouble, And then we turn this one corner, and we see all of these clowns, and at this point, it is too much for her. She is way more scared than she thought she was gonna be. She grabs my hand super tight. She's got this, like, death grip on my hands, The next thing I know, I hear this thud.
Whoa.
And I look down, and my niece passed out. It was so scary, she passed out. And so my poor little niece, way scarier than she thought it was going to be, right? And so what happened in her brain was, as she was getting scared, when you get scared, you get that, like, kind of rush of, like, dopamine, like, you kind of laugh afterwards, Yeah. And so she gets this, like, rush of dopamine, so she's like, yes, this is awesome, I love this, I want to do this again, this is great. Then what happened was it got to a point where it was too scary for her. Her brain said, you know what? This is not a good idea anymore. I want to stop. It slams down on that stop button. That is how I found out that my niece is a passer-outer when she gets scared.
She's like one of those goats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you guys, what happens with nicotine, because remember, nicotine's a poison, and nicotine separates out body parts. That nicotine separates out that connection, so it goes in and it hits that go button. Yes, this is great, this is awesome, I love this, I want to do this again, this is amazing. But then it separates out that stop button. So at no point is the brain able to say, you know what, this is not a good idea anymore, I want to stop. That's what makes nicotine so addictive. That's why there will be people who will smoke cigarettes and they want to stop. Their family wants them to stop. Their doctors want them to stop. They wake up coughing every morning. They feel terrible. They look terrible. You know.
Their dog wants them to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Wreck-It Brand broke.
I didn't understand that dog.
Secondhand smoke.
Oh, secondhand.
But in a dog voice.
Get Mahoney.
What?
That was Get Mahoney.
And so,
say it secondhand smoke one more time.
Wreck-It Brand broke. Okay. So
I never did my part. Okay. Back again.
Wait, I wasn't finished.
Yes, you're good.
So all of those people who want to stop, right? Their brain doesn't know how to say, I want to stop. Their brain. This is so serious. This is like the serious part.
I know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm done laughing.
Okay, take a drink of water. Okay. Cool down.
Okay, sorry.
So because it separates out that go and stop button, the brain doesn't know how to say, you know, I want to stop. And that's why people who have like a long list of reasons to stop will continue to smoke cigarettes.
Right.
Now that's what makes nicotine really addictive. So people who start vaping will eventually get to a point where they want to stop and their brain won't know how to reconnect that button.
Man, that makes complete sense, because I remember one of the things from way back, found out that all it took was 3 cigarettes, 3 old-fashioned cigarettes to cause an addiction. So back when I was in high school, if a kid smoked 1 cigarette on Monday, smoked 1 cigarette on Wednesday, smoked 1 cigarette on Thursday, when he smoked that 4th cigarette on Friday, he had put enough nicotine in his system that the tobacco companies pretty much owned them. And if they smoked 1 entire pack and purchased another one, more than likely this was going to be a lifelong smoker.
Right.
And so 3 cigarettes is all it took. Now, they're finding out with e-cigarette, Juuls, and vapes is that if a kid like eats Cinnamon Toast Crunch every day for breakfast, or often, and then he smokes Cinnamon Toast Crunch, it bypasses the, this is dangerous thing, because your brain's used to that flavor. So a student can actually develop an addiction to vaping within 1 day, and like the first couple times they try it. And just because the brain doesn't see it as a dangerous thing, you know. And so, so it's really dangerous. So we had a student one time that emailed us, and he said, you know, I think I might have an addiction, but how can I tell? So I emailed him back, and we had a conversation, went back and forth for a little bit. And I said, here's what you can do. And I'm just going to pick an arbitrary date. So let's say Sunday night when you go to bed, you put your vape down wherever you put it, and you tell yourself these words out loud, okay? You can't say them inside your head. You have to say them out loud. I will not use that vape again until Thursday morning. So you're going to go 3 days, okay? Now watch how you immediately feel as soon as you say that. So if you're like, you know, no big deal. You're probably in pretty good shape.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. If you immediately say something like, ooh, man, that's going to be hard, then I would be a little bit concerned, okay? Monday morning you wake up, you reach for it and like, I told myself I wasn't going to use it, so you pick up your phone and you look at it. You get ready for school, you leave it at the house, but there's a little bit of like, I want to take it with me, but I'm not going to. You go to school, your friends are using it, like, oh man, I really wish I could use it, and you're like sweating it. Right? On the way home, you're thinking about it a whole bunch, and then when you get home, you're like, oh man, I want to use it, but I told myself I wasn't. So day 1, you make it. Day 2, you wake up, you definitely want to use it, you're crabby, food doesn't taste good. All you can think about is using it. And then like Tuesday afternoon, it's like, man, I wouldn't use it. But why is everybody turning into a complete jerk around me, right? And so like you're really upset and all that kind of stuff. And then you say to yourself, like Tuesday night or even Wednesday morning, like, you know what? I know I can quit whenever I want. And those people were just trying to scare me. It's not a big deal. And then you use it before Thursday.
Yeah. Like, I just got excited by that presentation.
Yeah. That is a sign of an addiction, right? Because you can't stop. But if it happens the other way, where you tell yourself on Sunday you don't feel anything, and then Friday morning, like, oh yeah, I was going to use my vape yesterday, I forgot about it. Yeah, then you do not have an addiction. So this kid wrote back to us, said, I tried doing that several times, and he couldn't stop, man. It was terrible. And then he sent us a picture of the packaging of the vape that he uses, the liquid, and on it, it had in big letters, it said 0% nicotine. This product contains no nicotine. And he says, what's in there that's causing the addiction?
Right. Like, could there be another chemical or what's going on?
Right.
So there were some scientists who wanted to answer that question as well. So what they did is they took a bunch of different brands of nicotine-free vapes. So they took ones that said 0% nicotine, completely nicotine-free, no nicotine at all, And they tested them to see exactly what chemicals were in there. And what they found was, of these nicotine-free vapes, 98% of them still contained large amounts of nicotine.
Man, yeah. And look, those letters are in red.
Whoa, that's how you know it's serious.
Yeah.
And so, when we heard that, we thought, that's crazy. How could it be possible that there's a vape that says it has 0% nicotine when in reality it is filled with nicotine?
Yes.
Right? But it's almost like, Dad, do you like Tic Tacs?
I'm looking at those little videos right now.
No.
I can't put them away.
Not TikTok, Tic Tacs. That's one of the scripted jokes. But if you get a box of Tic Tacs and you look on that box, somewhere on that box, it's going to say 0 grams of sugar. It's going to say sugar-free. Under the nutrition facts, there probably won't even be a section for sugar. But then under the ingredients, the very first ingredient, which means it's the majority of what's in there, is going to be sugar.
Whoa.
Now, the way that they can say that they're sugar-free, or the way they don't have to put it on the nutrition facts, is because of how small Tic Tacs are. Because sorry to break it to all you Tic Tac lovers out there, but Tic Tacs are pretty much just like pure sugar. They're basically like just mint flavored sugar. I think the real number is like 93.8% sugar.
Yeah,
is
that's
that right?
it. Yeah, 93.8.
93.8% sugar. So they're basically just mint flavored sugar. But the reason they can say they're sugar free is because of how small they are. Because each Tic Tac technically has less than 1 gram of sugar.
Whoa.
The FDA says anything with less than 1 gram of sugar can be considered sugar-free, because I think they're thinking like 1 gram of sugar in like a whole frozen pizza or something like that.
Or a gallon of milk or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so they can say that they're sugar-free. Now, the tobacco industry looks at that and they're like, whoa, we love that kind of math, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of math that really makes companies look good. So here's what the rule is that the tobacco industry uses. If a vape juice contains less than 19 cigarettes worth of nicotine or less, they're allowed to say that it's absolutely nicotine-free. It's only if a vape juice contains 20 cigarettes worth of nicotine or more, they have to tell you that there's nicotine in there. So unfortunately for that student, he's vaping, but at least he's trying to make a better decision for his health. He's trying to use something that's not going to be addictive. The tobacco industry is giving him a product saying this is going to be safe, this isn't going to be addictive, this isn't going to hurt you, when in reality, man, that product is filled with nicotine. And like you said, it only takes 3 cigarettes to become addictive. So 1 Juul pod, 1 vape juice liquid container or whatever, that amount of liquid is definitely enough to cause an addiction.
Right.
Yeah. And so they, kind of give it to these people saying this is going to be safe, when in reality, it could be a problem for the rest of their life.
Right. The tobacco industry has a saying or a quote they had way back in the day. It says, we're in the business of confusion. And so if you can confuse people or get mixed messages out there, then what happens is people will have a tendency to believe with the safe part, or the part that they want to believe, right?
Right.
And so, but if he hears, well, vaping's better than smoking cigarettes, which is not true, right? Then your brain's like, oh, okay, I know that it's safer, to use vape than a regular cigarette.
Right.
And so, so the thing is, they're in the business of confusion. So this is totally confusing for people,
Yeah.
And 20 cigarettes, man, that is just awful. So the thing is, let me just give you a little brief history, what happens is, every year in the United States, about 7 million people around the world die from cigarettes. 7 million people. In the United States, it's 484,000. What that works out to is 1,300 people a day, or 54 people every hour. And so the tobacco industry is probably the only company out there that kills their customers.
Yeah.
And so the tobacco company looks at that and they go, man, we're losing 54 dollar signs every hour. That's almost one person every minute, right?
Those aren't dollar signs, they're people.
No way. Yeah. And so the thing is, they said, well, we got to get new smokers. Mm-hmm. So, Brooke, simple answer or simple question. Do you think they're looking for somebody 14, 15, 16, 17 to start smoking? Or are they looking for somebody in their 50s to start smoking?
Sorry, Dad, but you are not their key demographic.
I am not. They do not care about me anymore.
Nope.
Yeah, I am now embraced by the car industry.
Yeah. And like people who will do your taxes, that is your key demographic,
right.
You know.
And people who make those bathtubs that you can't fall down in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those bathtub people are not looking at teenagers.
No.
They are looking at you.
Yeah.
But the tobacco industry is definitely looking at you.
Right, because if they get me, I may buy 2 packs of cigarettes, but then I'm done. I can't smoke any more than that. But if they can get somebody 15, 16, then they have a lifelong smoker, somebody who's going to smoke for quite a while.
And
now, go ahead.
Well, the other thing that they know is that for younger people, dangerous stuff kind of is more enticing to you just because the way that the human brain develops. Right now, at your stage in your life, you're more likely to do risky behaviors like jumping over that thing you probably shouldn't jump over, eating those berries that you guys found while you were, on some kind of hike. And you're like, I wonder what this is. Or maybe I'll eat it.
As a swing that comes out of the tree and goes over the lake.
Yeah.
But, there's that drop first.
Right.
Or holding on to that firework as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, or going down that hill that's way too steep on your skateboard, but you're pretty sure you can do it.
Or in a shopping cart.
Yeah.
Or getting your car up on 2 wheels.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And then doing a loop-de-loop and then jumping over a thing on fire.
Yeah, you guys are definitely way more likely to do that kind of stuff. But all of that kind of stuff, the tobacco industry knows that the way your brain is developing right now, all of that stuff looks enticing.
Right.
So they know that if they can get you guys to try vapes just once or twice, just to kind of see, they know that they could potentially have you as a customer for your entire life.
Right.
So the tobacco industry isn't looking to give you something fun, something that's going to help your health, something that's going to help your life. They're just looking to get your money, and that is it.
Right. And so one of the big myths, one of the confusion parts is, man, we hear this all the time. Vaping is so much better for you than smoking regular cigarettes because it doesn't have that little thing inside of it called tar. Now, if any of you have ever seen back in the day, like the pig lungs that they used to take around that had tar in them.
Were those pig lungs?
Yeah. There was
I thought they were human lungs.
No, they were little like piglet lungs about the size of human lungs.
How'd they get them to smoke that much? Or like how'd they get all the tar in there?
You actually want to know that because I found out how they test like monkeys with marijuana and all that kind of stuff.
I am dying to know.
And so it's terrible. Yeah.
Is this going to be sad?
A little bit, but they put their head in this thing and then they fill it with smoke. So it's kind of forced to breathe it. But the pig signed a waiver.
They give him like a nice trough of food after.
Yeah. I was going to do a big voice signing a waiver.
What would pig voice be?
I can't do that.
I need my lawyer. I can't.
And so anyway, what they did, and so you would see that the lungs would turn black. Well, you don't see that so much anymore because, kids are using vapes and stuff like that.
Yeah. And
so they said, well, good, my lungs aren't going to turn black, which is a good thing. And so the problem is, one of the big things that people don't realize, and this is like if you use a vape for one time, okay, just one time. So the very first time you use it, you're going to breathe in that vape. Now, the thing is, we were all in quarantine and we all baked stuff and did that kind of stuff. And I would set my oven at 350 degrees to bake cookies.
Yeah.
Now, there'd be times with our convection oven, I would open up the oven door and that hot air would hit me and I would jump back, And so the thing is, 350 degrees is pretty hot, but what comes out of the back of an e-cigarette, Juul, or vape comes out of the back of it at 450 degrees.
Whoa!
So you're taking in more heat into your lungs than what's in that oven right there. And so the thing is, it goes in, and it immediately cooks a little tiny portion of that lung.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine you took a cast iron skillet and you heated it up to 450 degrees. You took a hamburger patty and you flattened it out and you threw it in the skillet, but you immediately pulled it out. So it's like, psh, you know, and out.
Yeah.
If you flip that over, you're going to see like a little tiny part that's already cooked, like gray, you know? Mm-hmm. Now imagine you did that for the next 20 years and you threw it in, pulled it out, threw it in, pulled it out, threw it in, pulled it out. Eventually what's going to happen is the whole entire thing is going to be cooked.
Right.
That's what's happening inside the lungs, is every time you breathe in with a vape, it cooks a little portion of lungs. Now, once that hamburger is completely cooked, you cannot make it go back to being raw again. And that's where the damage happens. And popcorn lung happens with that as well.
So if you don't want to breathe through hamburger, don't vape.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so one of the other things that they say is like, well, overall, vapes have a lot less chemicals than cigarettes, right? Which is close to being true. But a lot of people will tell us like it's just water vapor,
right?
Which is nowhere near the truth, because number one, it's not vapor, it's actually aerosol. And so the liquid isn't water, because if you tried to breathe in 450 degree water, it would burn your lungs. But the liquid that they use feels cooler, so you don't get that like burning steam sensation,
right?
And so what the liquid is usually it's either vitamin E oil or vegetable glycerin, which both of those chemicals safe to put on your skin, safe to eat, but when you breathe them in, they do a lot of damage to the lungs.
Right.
The other thing that they put in there is, you know, whatever kind of flavoring is in there. And so those flavorings are actually filled with chemicals. It's not like strawberry flavor is just strawberries, you know, like it's filled with chemicals. And so even when you go to the websites that make those flavorings, I went to one to find some for baking.
Right.
At the bottom, there's like a little thing that says like, this product is not intended to be breathed in.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Anyway, so all of those chemicals, when they go into the lungs, that glycerin gets really, really sticky, and it acts almost exactly like tar. So what scientists are saying is not only is it super hot, but inside your lungs, it gets really sticky, and it fills up all those little tubes with sticky liquid, and it acts almost exactly like tar and all of those other chemicals do, where they're finding that a lot of those chemicals do are considered cancerous or carcinogen, so they do have the potential to cause cancer. Now, because vapes have only been around for a little while, we haven't seen so many people getting cancer yet, but those chemicals do act the same way. And we are starting to see people get things like lung disease and emphysema and things that you would usually associate with cigarettes.
That makes sense, yeah.
So what they're saying is vapes really are not any better for your lungs than regular cigarettes.
Right. Do you want to go through those questions real quick?
Yeah, let's do that.
Minutes. Okay.
6 minutes, and then we'll get you guys back to class.
Yeah, so we're going to ask you 6 different questions, and just to kind of determine where you are. These aren't to scare you or make you feel bad or guilty or anything like that. It's just kind of like a roadmap to see where you are. So if you answer yes to 1, you're pretty safe. But if you answer yes to like 2 or more, or yes to all 6, man, I would really look into it, because you may have an addiction to e-cigarette, Juuls, and vapes. Now, the good part is, because you're younger, it'd be easy to break the addiction now.
Right.
So when we ask these questions, please don't identify yourself in any way. Don't go, yeah, or don't go, that's me, or cool, or hey, that's you.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't
like, that sounds like Billy to me.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Please don't do that.
Yeah. So we're going to ask you 6 different questions, and just answer them inside your head. Okay, yes or no. So question number 1, if you know somebody who smokes in class, so I know some of you are back in class. If you know anybody that like, teacher turns their back, they use it real quick, they blow the smoke behind them, and they try to hide it, yeah, that's a huge sign of an addiction.
Yeah. Number 2, if you know anybody who goes in and out of the bathroom pretty much every passing period and uses their vape, or if they're using their vape basically just anytime they have a chance, you know, anytime they're free, anytime they're not doing something else, they're using it, that is a huge sign of an addiction.
Yeah. Question number 3, if you know anybody who lied to get it or purchased it illegally. So they went onto a website, said, yes, I'm over the age of 18. They bought one, they sent it to a friend's house, and then they picked it up. That's illegal. If an older person, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, brother-in-law, somebody bought it for them, that it's legal for them, and then they gave it to them, that's illegal. So however they purchased it illegally, that's a huge sign of an addiction.
Right. Number 4, if it is one of the very first things you do when you wake up in the morning, that is a sign of an extremely strong addiction. So this one, basically, just the earlier you use it in the day, the stronger that addiction is.
Right. Question number 5 is if you get defensive, scared, or nervous when we're asking these questions. So if any part when we were asking these questions right now, you said anything like this: nah, they don't know what they're talking about. They said they weren't going to try to scare me, but they are. I can quit whenever I want. These people don't know what they're talking about. If you said anything like that, your brain is changing to protect the addiction.
Right. And number 6, if you always have it on you, so if you have it in your pocket or in your backpack right now, even though it's illegal for you to have it at school, or if you have like a special little hiding place for it,
right,
those are huge signs of addiction.
Right.
And so you guys, again, we don't want to scare you.
Right.
We just want you to be able to kind of know where you are for yourself. And if you said yes to those questions and you're feeling nervous, please reach out to a teacher, a parent, a counselor, any adult that you trust, because they will be able to get you help. And just like my dad said, because you guys are young, addiction happens really fast. But because you guys are young, addiction also can break really fast. And so if you stop now, that addiction will, you'll be able to stop it. If you continue on 3 months, 4 months, even a few more weeks, that addiction is going to get harder and harder to break.
Yeah. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to contact us. Here's a couple ways that you can get a hold of us. Let me see, we're going to put this slide up here. You can contact us right here. You can Google Ray Lozano, look for the youth speaker, not the guitar player. TikTok, just say Ray. We're on there. We just put a bunch of fun videos on that. Ray Lozano Speaks is on there. If you go to YouTube, RL4DFY, we have like a whole bunch of videos up there, putting new ones up all the time. And if you're interested in having us present to some other schools or your youth group or something like that, you can contact us at admin@raylozano.com. So all kinds of different ways that you can get a hold of us.
And then just like we said, if you put stuff in the chat, those will come directly to us, even if you're watching this later on as a replay.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. So you can get a hold of us a whole bunch of different ways. Hey, what's this new table down here?
No, Dad, don't.